Welcome back to Arubakes. Today we are making some shortbread cookies. These are one of my favorite cookies. They're buttery, they're crumbly, they melt in your mouth. So let's get straight into it. To make our shortbread cookies, we are starting off with some salted butter. I always use salted butter when I'm baking because I feel like it adds a little bit more depth of flavor to all of your baked goods. To this, I'm also adding in just a pinch more of salt just to enhance the flavors even more. Then get this beating with a paddle attachment on a medium speed until your butter gets all pale in color. This is room temperature butter that we are using just so that it beats up into this nice, smooth, creamy butter. If you use cold butter, then it takes ages for those lumps to really nicely cream up. So always just leave your butter out of the fridge for about 15 minutes, depending on how hot or not where you live is, and then beat it up. Just scrape the bowl down just to make sure there are no lumps at the bottom. And we'll beat this maybe for about 3 minutes more, just until it's a little paler and fluffier. Okay, so this is kind of what we are looking for, where your butter is a lot lighter in color than it was, and it's nice and creamy and nice. Now we can start adding in the icing sugar into this. I'm just gonna sift in the icing sugar, break up any lumps, just to make sure that your shortbread cookie is nice and smooth. And then get this beating again on a low speed just until this is nice and combined. Scrape the bowl down again just to make sure that all of the butter and all of the icing sugar has mixed through nicely. Whenever you're mixing anything using a stand mixer, always scrape the bowl down. Cakes, cookies, anything, just to make sure there are no lumps at the bottom. The last thing you want is to mix everything, get all your ingredients incorporated, just to find little bits of unmixed mixture at the bottom of the bowl that hasn't really gotten incorporated into your batter. Let's go in with a little bit of vanilla bean paste. Even some vanilla essence is fine for this, just to kind of bring out that shortbreadiness of these shortbread cookies. Give that a quick mix. And then to this, we are going to sift in the flour and the corn flour. Flour, corn flour. Sift in about half of this, and then just on a very low speed, just until it's incorporated into the rest of the batter. See this crumbly texture? Don't worry. As you keep mixing this, it'll all come together. Now go in with the rest of the flour. So we are adding the flour and the corn flour in 2 batches. Okay, get rid of any lumpy bits, and then mix that through again on a low speed, because if you do this on a high speed, all of that flour is just gonna go everywhere. Okay, so this is more or less mixed through. Let's just scrape down the bowl one more time, just to make sure there's no unincorporated flour. Shortbread cookies are so delicious because they've got like that crumbly texture. It melts into your mouth as you're eating it. It's the perfect thing to beat the Jan blues, you guys. Okay, this is looking very good. I'm just gonna give this one quick mix. Now that we know there are no lumps of anything left at the bottom. Just on medium speed for maybe 20 seconds. Done. Lay out some cling film on your table, and then I'm gonna spoon this on. Don't worry if you feel like, oh my god, this dough is very wet. It doesn't seem like you can cut into it and make it into those nice shortbread squares. We are going to pop this in the fridge for it to set for about an hour. What that does is it helps the butter to firm up, and it helps the gluten to relax, which gives you those nice crumbly delicious cookies. Use your spoon and just spread this out because we want to create a little bit of a log, but like a square log, not a round log. Just use the cling to kind of manipulate it to the size that you want. Make sure to get it as even and square as possible, because then when you cut into this, you get those nice square shaped shortbread cookies. You don't want some to be like way bigger, some to be funny shaped. I mean, you can because it's homemade cookies, but it's always nice to try and make it look a little professional. Okay, this is looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Look at that. Pop that in the fridge, let it set for at least 1 hour until it's nice and firm. This has been sitting in the fridge now for about an hour. You can see that it's a proper solid block. That's what we're looking for. Let's cut this up and bake up our shortbread cookies. Preheat your oven to 130 Celsius and line a baking pan with some parchment or baking paper. Set this aside and then unwrap our shortbread cookie dough cube. Get yourself a sharp knife and then snip off the edge like that. And then we want to just slice this maybe about that thickness, maybe about 1 centimeter or so in thickness. And if you like, you can just straighten out the edges a little just to get nice sharp edges. But you know, these are homemade cookies, you guys. You can just have it as it is. Get your lined baking tin and then just place them. Leave maybe about 1 inch of a gap between them, just so that there's space for air to circulate between the cookies so you get a nice even bake. I'm doing a few bigger ones and a few smaller ones, depending on how greedy you are. Maybe you have one of these and then you want just another half. So I'm just doing a couple of varieties of sizes. Whatever's left that you can't fit into your baking tin, just wrap it up again, form it into your kind of log shape and pop it back in the freezer. You can bake this up in your second batch once these guys are done, or you can just keep this as it is so that you can have freshly baked shortbread cookies whenever you feel like it. And then just keep it in your freezer. You can pop it in the fridge for about half an hour before you slice into it, before you bake it next time. Okay, so we've popped these onto our lined baking tray with a little bit of a gap in between each one. Get yourself a fork or a skewer and poke some holes in this. This is just to ensure that it gets evenly baked through. Get yourself a little skewer or a toothpick like this, and then you can go in with perfect looking, professional looking little holes in your cookies like this. These are now ready to go in the oven. This has been in the oven for about 15 minutes now. Still needs a little bit more time, so I'm just going to turn this round. These have been in the oven for about 30 minutes now. I actually increased the temperature to about 150 degrees Celsius for the last 10 minutes just to get a little bit of color onto these cookies. Always the moment they come out of the oven, just move them just to make sure they haven't stuck to the base of the tin or stuck to each other. Just move them around a little. Okay, these are all fine. And then just let it cool down in the tray like this for about 10 minutes before biting into them, because they're pretty soft right now. They'll harden up a little as it cools down. These have been cooling down for about 5 minutes now. That is as long as I'm willing to wait because my house just smells amazing, you guys. So let's get straight into one of these. Ooh, beautiful. It just melts into your mouth. Oh my gosh. It's slightly sweet. It's not like overpoweringly sweet. It's so crumbly or so buttery and yum. Try this out, you guys. And don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of these recipes that I'm doing. See you in the next one. Bye.